Year. Happy New Year, everybody. How y'all doing?
Yeah, we in
Did
20.
you miss us?
Did you how did they say it on the show? Did you miss
Did you miss me?
me? How y'all
I didn't
doing?
want to just say me because it's like a us that wasn't here. So I
It
want
was,
to know,
it
did
was
y'all miss us?
yes. Listen, last year was a little rough, chat. Well, not rough. It was a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. This year started off with the
We started off the year with a lot going on too.
Yes.
But we here and we can't complain. We gotta give
yes.
God
Bon año, happy year, buenos no. What is it? Well, how do you say Happy New Year in Spanish? Buenos nuevos años or something like that.
What is it? Bon anniversaire. Is that how we say it?
That's français. I say français.
Okay. Anyways,
all
we
right,
are
yeah. We're gonna try to stick to a good little 30 minutes today. We'll see how that go.
We're gonna do the best. We're gonna do our best
for like being here with us.
And we're gonna do our best and get it together. So we are back and we're gonna try to be a little bit more organized this year.
We were organized. It was organized chaos.
Was it organized chaos?
It was absolutely organized chaos.
Okay, I'll agree with that. So we're back.
I'm trying to. How are you? I was trying to share, but how am I going? I want to share it to. I was trying to share the video to my page. It used to let me copy the link. I'm not seeing that option this time.
You know what? When I went into StreamYard today, some things have changed.
Oh, some things have changed.
Things have changed.
And I'm
confused. It is on.
Go ahead.
See it on our page, but it doesn't look like I can change it from. Like it won't allow me to change it on my regular page, but I can see it on our page. On the Racing.
I was trying to share it to my personal page, but it seems to not be doing that. So
yeah, it doesn't. We'll figure. We're gonna have to figure
it all out. We're gonna. We ain't know. See the New Year glitches, and we ain't got no producers.
Yeah,
we're trying to be talent and the producer, and this is what happens when you're trying to do too much. You know,
right. And then I don't see notifications anymore because once we go live, we get notifications so we can share it. So
yeah, and this thing is saying we've been live for an hour and 14 minutes. So I don't know what's happening here on my end.
It's wrong.
I don't know. It's some stuff going on. I just know we live. So I might have to just add my personal page as one of the pages that it goes to live. And you can also do that too. Because I think from StreamYard, we can share it to about like I think we have the plan where we can do it to like 10 different platforms. So we'll at least share it to ours. And then after it's recorded, then we can go and, let some other folks who allow us to share on their page. But it says 2 shares. So I'm not sure how you're able to do that.
I see it's on your Democratic Women's Club. I see.
Yeah, because that's one of the ones that automatically goes to.
Right.
But I was trying to share it to
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So we welcome you guys back to our channel.
Yes.
Share and subscribe. All right.
Yes.
And we created this platform because we wanted to get our people politically involved, be part of the process, talk about voting, talk about what our votes mean, talk about politics, talk about elected officials, local and federal, because all of them make decisions that affect our everyday lives, as my co-host has always stated. And I feel like it's important that we try to bring the information in a more palatable way so people can get fully engaged. So that's why we're here. Again, if you don't know who we are because you're coming into the new year and trying to do some new things, my name is Narneet Grant. I ran for office at one time. I'm really into the educational system with my children, as well as being an advocate for our community. And I'll let Sandra talk about who she is, and then we'll talk about the debacle that is called the 118th Congress. It was a hot mess, but we'll talk about it.
All right. So if for anyone that's new, I'm Sandra Sheffer. I am the other co-host of Racing the Races, and I'm just one of those people like I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Is all I'm gonna say, because I got like all kind of hustles, do a whole bunch of things. Practice an attorney. I'm a professor at a local university. I'm really involved in politics right now. It's something I've always like voted and those types of things, but There was one year I went to vote and I didn't know some of the people that was on there. And I was like, this ain't gonna happen to me no more. And I was like, well, if it happened to me, I'm sure it's happening to a whole bunch of folks too. So I started informing myself about candidates, people that are running, for office. And I thought it was, it was important for us to share this platform. That's part of it. And the other thing that really got us to just pull the trigger and really, do the show was during the Breonna Taylor, right? 2020 was a year of like all kind of emotional everything. We dealt with George Floyd, and then that Breonna Taylor case came to light shortly thereafter, and it was just some days that it was tough. And it might have been like when they were trying to decide whether they were going to indict those officers, but I know it was one of these real emotional days. And I was like, yeah, you want to talk about it, let's develop something and let's talk about it. I was interviewing candidates on my Democratic Women's Club page, and then we just were like, no, we want to talk about some other things that are not necessarily related to candidates. And so we created this space in order for us to do that. And we've been doing it like a couple of years now, I think, so
we've been doing it. So we just want to give as much information and give it in a way that when we're talking to you, you feel it, you understand it. That would cause you to be more susceptible to be part of the process and do more, because they do their best. And when I say they, we're talking about people in government who put obstacles in our way to deter us and distract us from getting what needs to get done, which is voting and making sure that we elect the right people. So we're here not to tell you not to get distracted. You also will hear some of our frustrations, and I feel like our frustrations mirror those in the community. So we want to talk about that too. But this is a healthy way and a great way to talk about it. And then we talk about how we can make changes, right? So you want to start with the
shout out to Commissioner Joy Smith that has joined us. Yes,
good evening.
I saw her at New Year's. Happy New Year! Yes, City of Miramar had a ball drop. And I was able to see Commissioner Joy Smith. We brought the New Year in together, kind of, sort of, but it was all good, right? So yeah, thanks for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And so Miramar also had the longest table event. Like they do that in a lot of cities. So we had that. I think it was Sunday. We had the longest table event, and I ran into some folks there too. Miramar Commissioner Maxwell Chambers was there, and then I found out that there's some folks. People were talking about the show. They talked about a couple of the interviews that we had, and I was like, okay, so people are actually watching. So so that's a good thing, right? You never know who's watching, who's checking it out, and so it was good to hear that that some folks in the community took notice and they're watching the show and they do get some information and they find that there's some value in that. So that was good.
Nice.
Yes, happy New Year. It's always good seeing you. It's always good seeing you.
Always. So you want to start with the House or you?
Okay, so that's why you're trying to go. What?
We'll go. No, let's go there.
It took 15 votes for
4 days and 15
4 days and 15 votes for McCarthy to become Speaker of the House. I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm not gonna say I don't know. I don't think it was a good thing because he basically had to give up a lot for, in order for that to happen. And I don't know what give up a lot means, right? Because it was gonna be chaotic no matter what. Just the mere fact that I think that, the Republicans were in power and, they got this Freedom Caucus that all they want to do is cause like chaos and not necessarily do the work of the people. And so one of the things that they say is happening right now, they're doing committee assignments and practically all they want to do is investigate Joe Biden. For what, I don't know, because he got infrastructure, he got people, back to work, he did like the vaccine stuff. A lot of these Republican states are taking credit for things that he managed to have happen that's benefiting their states. But then, you got these folks who wants to start investigation and waste time instead of trying to deal with the issues that people really got going on. Even just today, I had someone talk to me like, well, can the landlord really raise my rent $700 and then tell me to move into a smaller space? yeah, they can do that. And these are the type of things that people are worried about. They're worried about the price of food in the grocery store. They're worried about getting priced out of places that they're living. But these people want to go investigate Joe Biden instead of doing what it is that people really need to see happen, which is to figure out how we're going to manage these costs or make these jobs, what people are getting paid catch up to what it is that it's costing them to live almost anywhere in the United States. So
this 118th Congress is already starting out with the foolery. They adopted rule package where they can literally you would think that, after 4 days and 15 votes, they would be focused on the issue for the American people, but they're too busy adopting rules, which includes the return of a controversial rule that would allow a single member to force a vote on ousting out the speaker, right? They basically, everybody kind of voted party lines. You had 220 to 213, and that was one of the things why the 15 votes took so long, because there were some outliers or 20 holdouts that was basically demanding things that had nothing to do with the American people. This is indicative of what the 2 years is going to look like. I think Democrats have already resigned in their mind that they're, with an uphill battle, dealing with the Republicans. But what bothers me the most is the American people are the ones that suffer. We're the ones that suffer. Like, parties be damned. We're the ones that suffer. And at the end of the day, there's this power struggle in Congress. While we're sitting here, we have inflated rent. We have eggs are $10. A loaf of bread is $20. I mean, I'm over.
It feel like it's $20, but it's about $7. I mean, you could have bought I remember buying a loaf of bread for like 89 cents, yo. And now it's like $7. Didn't
I tell you I went to the grocery store? I bought a dozen eggs. 18 eggs. I bought a gallon of milk. I bought a loaf of bread, and I bought something else. It was something else like bacon, and something else was $50. $50.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm just saying. And then when you think about it in terms of someone who's living from paycheck to paycheck, who has a strict budget and has to feed children on this strict budget, but y'all sitting over here worrying about rules and how to oust the speaker when people have real issues.
Oh, that speaker know he getting ousted. He know he's not gonna last, but that was it was his dream to become Speaker of the House. He made his dream come true and didn't care the cost. Like, he absolutely didn't care the cost to the American people or for the people that voted for him and everybody else. He didn't care the cost. That's all he wanted. And whatever it took for him to get it, he got it. Even if he doesn't keep it for the entire 2 years, he could at least say he was Speaker of the House. And that's all it was. And that's a problem. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
The Republicans voted overwhelmingly for it. So I think
voted for him.
No, I think the change of that rule benefits the Republican, benefits the majority party. That's what it does.
Right. But but that was part of why they didn't vote for him the first 14 times, is because that's one of the things that they wanted to have happen.
Yeah. So, listen, what we suggest is that we kind of focus on 2024, because these next 2 years is going to be something that we have to begrudgingly kind of deal with, right? I think that the parties have made a clear decision, a clear distinction between the two on how they're going to operate. I'm really, really disappointed that there's an there is a majority in the House, because the party of family values does not demonstrate what they stand on. So, while I am concerned for the
next, they even claim to be the party of family values anymore. I almost know if they say that. I don't know if they even try to. I don't know if they try to act like that's what they about.
I don't know.
But just like you said about us, about people, well, Democrats at least focusing on 24 because these next 2 years are gonna be like, at least in the House, they're gonna be like woo woo, right? So Katie Porter out of California, she basically has already announced that she's gonna run for Senate because what's that? The oldest senator, well, one of the senators from the state of California is gonna be like 92 or something like that by the time 24 comes around. Right, she's gonna be like 92, and so she hasn't officially said she's not gonna run. But like, lady, you don't. If you're 92, you should not be running for no job that's 6 years long. Okay, so Katie Porter has already said that that's something that she's interested in doing. And one of the things I would like to see is if there are any other Democratic senators that aren't going to run for re-election, they need to let that, put that out there now so the other Democrats can go ahead and start campaigning, start running, start laying down the groundwork so they can do what it is that they need to do instead of holding on and then waiting till, the last minute or whatever and decide not to run or even run and possibly lose because they're going to be like 88 and 90 years old, right? Like,
I'm not in agreement.
Ages, but really, folks should not be voting for a 90-year-old that got a 6-year term coming up.
And it's not even about being ages. I am not in agreement for anybody over the age of 70.
I mean, our president was 78 when
I'm not, and I'm not okay with that either. I just don't think that because when you're a person of a certain age, I'm not saying that they're not effective. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we should learn as we age how to pass the baton and continue on the work. And the work doesn't necessarily need to be exactly how we're doing it, but it needs to be an expansion of what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And also allow new people to come in with new ideas and new ways of dealing. Because
what about all that institutional knowledge and the person having that much experience? They have something to offer.
They do have something to offer. They have something to offer the person who's going to succeed them. Absolutely, they can. I just think that is how we create legacies, and that's how we create generational wealth. You pass on the information, and then you make sure that they understand. You always have someone next to you as you're grooming. You groom people along, passing on. And I think that the wealth of information is what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to pass it on. And I'm not saying that those who are in politics have not done that. I'm just saying that to be 78, to be 80, to be 84, and you're
88, that's different.
I'm just saying that I just think
that's very different from 70. To be 88 or 90 is very different from 78. 78, you might be able to do something for like 2 years, but like you 80, you 92, and you trying to get a job that's gonna be 6 years? Are you kidding me? Your retirement plan should be set already by the time you're 92.
I'm even going to go a little further. I'm going to say 75. I think it is a disservice for those who are that age that do not make sure that they have a succession plan. Mm-hmm. I just think that is a disservice. And to me, that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that. It just means to me that is that the outlook is not something that they're interested in my opinion.
Right. They just want to. And so the person who Katie Porter plans to seat she's gonna be seeking is Dianne Feinstein's seat. Dianne Feinstein's seat.
And I think with respect, Ms. Feinstein should have done a succession plan 20 years ago.
Well, I mean, she probably only got in 20 years ago, but she definitely should not be announcing that she's gonna run for re-election. And she's gonna be 92 years old. Like that just
I'm just know. Even if she got into Congress 20 years ago, there still should have been a succession plan. I think that we don't. I think I don't want to. And again, it's not being ageist or whatever. I just think that it's an important thing to have a succession plan, because even when you're like as a parent, you have a succession plan for your kids, because as they grow, you know that things which you have the wherewithal and the experience of knowing what's going to happen. Not exactly, but you have an idea. So you prepare, right? It's the same way. Prepare the way, get that special someone or special people or the people you've identified that have the ability, and then you groom them. You groom them to take your space. I think that is a disservice to us as American people, that you have people in politics who are 78, 90, 88, and they're in a position, right? And because of their age, their seniority, they're dealt with respect and put it, but to be quite honest, are they effective?
And Commissioner Smith is saying, like, there's no way at 90 years old you can keep up with all of the technology. And she's right. Like, I'm not 90, nowhere close to it. And I'm telling you, there's a gap with some of the things that the younger folks are doing. And I deal with college students, and sometimes they're talking about things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Y'all do what? And there's a disconnect. And I'm probably I'm 40 years younger than Feinstein, you understand? And I feel like, oh wow, there's a disconnect with what younger folks are dealing with than people in my age group. So when you get to her age, I mean, there's no way she can, maybe there is some way she could probably hire staff and have people that keep her hip with what's going on and all of that type of stuff. But no, at that point, listen, you don't be trying to get no new, another 6-year job when you're going to be like 92 years old. And I do believe there should be some age limit. In Florida, Supreme Court judges have to retire at 70. It's forced retirement at 70. They're like, you got to go.
Well, I mean, you can't.
Bright and everything's going on. You have to leave the job at 70 years old.
Yeah, you can't take the risk of someone being there and then there is some ailment going on and it affects their ability to judge, right? Mm-hmm. Their affects their ability to rule. And I also believe that those Congress people, those representatives who are sick, who have diseases that are inoperable, who's looking at death's door, there should be a succession plan. You shouldn't run for your office knowing that you have
this prognosis. That doctor told you what's up. Like, come
on.
That doctor told you like you got like 6 months.
That's a grave disservice, and that's a grave injustice to those who rely on these particular people within those districts as representatives. That is not right. That's just my opinion. And I'm hoping that the Democrats at some point work on, right now as we speak, they should be working on 2024.
They need to, because that's going to be rough, and we need it. Because what I think is going to happen is that we're going to have some more setbacks between 22 and 24. Like, there was some progress made when the Democrats took over in 2018, when they managed to hold on in 2020. So there was some good work done. There's going to be some setbacks between 22 and 24. So they need to have plans, like figure out how they need to try to have a vision about how ridiculous it's going to look, and already start developing plans on how we're going to get ourselves out of the holes that these folks are going to make.
I mean, there's already a bill in the House that they're trying to repeal some information where it has to do with the IRS and taxes and all that and whatnot.
Yeah, and the deficit is going to be like crazy. It's going to be crazy. So they definitely need to start
in the state of Florida where we are, there is a supermajority in our legislation. I mean, when we say supermajority, we mean by double-digit numbers, right?
And they're going to do whatever the Republicans are going to do whatever they want.
Anything.
Whatever they want.
Whatever they want. And my thing is that I'm going to venture out and say this, and I think I have a right to say that I am a voting person. I am a constituent. The Democrats did a piss poor job here in the state of Florida, and did not effectively make sure that they at least had one Democrat in the top 5 seats that is.
There was a whole lot. They had a lot of problems. They had like a money problem. They had a candidate.
Messaging was trash. The push behind the candidates was garbage. And they did a very piss poor job. And if they're not working today as we speak and right now behind the scenes to make sure that 2024 they come out come out strong at least, then I have nothing to say to them. Nothing.
Don't ask me for no money. Y'all did
a horrific job.
I gave way too much for what happened.
There is no room to be patting people on the back and telling people they did a good job. Y'all did nothing. Nothing.
They did something. They didn't do a good job though. That was below average at best.
You can't have your
candidate. Good job.
You can't have your candidates the night of election night and be saying good night at 7:30.
No, they were in bed. As soon as soon as the polls closed, within an hour, they was asleep in their pajamas. That is a bad job.
I mean, even the commissioner mentioned as simple as registering people to vote. To me, it was trash.
Yeah.
Period.
And they didn't give people a reason to vote. They're like, the Republicans are bad. So what? You could be bad too. Tell me what you gonna do. Tell me why I need to get.
No room for you all to huddle up and say, well, you all did a good job. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And at some point, as we tell our children, there is no pleasure in getting a participation award, right? I tell my kids that all the time. Participation award means nothing. What is important is what kind of work did they do, and how do we lead up to that? Garnering voters, all that other stuff. I didn't think they did it. We went to a thing where President Biden was there, the last push for thing, and then they had someone come out there who was their director of
she was somebody from the Florida Democratic Party. No one knew who she was. They didn't know what she was talking about. I don't even remember her name. So
who was she?
And it wasn't even a matter of me not remember her name. I should have known her name before she even got on the stage. So I didn't know her name, and I didn't remember it after she said it. I still don't remember her name because
how many times did I ask you at the event? Who is that? What's her name? Who is that? We don't even know who she is.
No one's listening to her either. And I think she was like a communications PR, some person that people should have known who she was. So
the Democratic Party did a horrible job here in Florida.
They did, and a couple other states, right? There were people that they should have supported. They should have Sherry Beasley in North Carolina. They should have supported her because she came really close. They could have done a little bit more for Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin. He had a legitimate shot if they really did just a little bit more. Did a little bit more for him. So
I think in Georgia, Stacey did as much as she could. I think Stacey did what she could.
So Stacey got caught up in some so Stacey did a great job, right?
She did.
But then Brian Kemp ain't scared to lie. He did. And the messaging was still off, right? Because he basically made it seem as though like I did a good job, so why switch from me now, right? So some of that happened, and it was like, but you kind of wasn't, and you taking credit for things that you weren't even doing. And as soon as he got reelected, he went back messing with the abortion stuff that he wasn't supposed to be messing with, and all of that. So they fell for the lies. They fell for the lies he told, and didn't give her that opportunity, and didn't give her that opportunity. That was unfortunate.
I blame the 65% of white women that decided that.
So
yes, ma'am, I sure did. 65% in Georgia.
It wasn't only white; it was white and Hispanics that supported him.
Well, you ladies voted against your interests. So understand and sit with what's going to happen in Georgia because you decided to vote against your interests. Black women are not Captain Save-A-Hos, and we're not coming out here trying to help everybody. I'm sorry. We tried. You didn't want to do it. You did your own thing. Sit in it and figure out how y'all gonna make that work. Black women and I, we can't help you. We've done what we can do.
Well, we did try. We did help. We did what we could, and then
but we're not coming. We're not gonna backpedal and try to help you now. Like we've done what we can do. Before he
she said I was out at the polls and no one person out there campaigning for the governor. They had no one out there. Is this Governor Kemp in Georgia or are you talking about Florida? Commissioner Smith.
I think she's talking about
my Georgia. But even because I watched the debates. I watched the debates from different states, and I mean, he went up there and you could tell he was lying, but people wanted to believe him. And that's one of the things that I saw a lot during the cycle and just things that were happening in the last couple of years. Like somebody that's not black could be lying. Everybody know they lying, but they're going to take it as truth, right? And then a black person could be telling the truth. And then it's going to come off and they'll be like, no, they'll choose not to believe them, even though that's telling the truth. And that's a problem that we have because that man was lying. Everybody knew he was lying, but there's like, well, he said he gone. I'm like, but his actions spoke differently. His actions said something else. Oh, so you said, the government, but he had, okay, listen. So if Commissioner Smith is talking about the race in Florida, okay, I would just say the minute Charlie Crist became the Democratic nominee for Florida, that election was lost. Because Charlie Crist ain't had no money. Charlie Crist got a whole, like, he don't know who he want to be problem. Charlie Crist was way too much of a career politician. And Charlie Crist don't know how to go low. And that's the only way you could really deal with DeSantis. So I didn't see that happening at all anyway. No. And I went to the debate and I was like, yeah, no, because there were opportunities where he could have like checked DeSantis on the nonsense he was saying, and he didn't have the ability to do it, or he didn't want to. I don't know, but to me that was already a loss. That was absolutely already a loss when he became the nominee.
And knowing that there was an election coming, especially where it came down to DeSantis, I think the Florida Democratic Party chair did a horrible job not foreseeing, because there's a way that you can look at something and foresee some things and see what's going to go and kind of start strategizing behind that and making a real effort to push. The fact that there was nothing done, and the fact that we haven't even heard, and I'm not sure if you have, but I haven't heard from Manny Diaz. I ain't getting no email. I ain't getting no statement. I didn't hear nothing. And to me, that is a red flag, and also indicative of how we're going to be looking in 2024. Because if we don't have change in leadership and get someone who's aggressive to make sure that we are managing our messaging well, managing the people on the ground well, getting people organized, you can go ahead and snap it and cut it, because 2024 ain't going to be for us. To me, the fact that I haven't heard anything yet, and I'm in the loop in terms of getting newsletters and emails and part of different Democratic clubs, the fact that I ain't hear from him, that's a problem. That is, I don't know if you will. People behind the scenes are hearing from him, but the people ain't heard from him. And
what people behind the scenes? What they heard? I don't think nobody from behind the scenes heard anything either.
Maybe
talking to nobody.
Maybe we just not in the know. That's all.
No, I don't think he's talking to anybody.
Well, that's a problem.
That's a whole.
And if to me, if I haven't heard a statement since November, and the fact that I haven't heard anything is indicative of how I feel 2024 is going to look like, because we are not in shape. We're not prepared. And the Democrats need to understand that. I hope other Democrats in other states and other municipalities are making us think about this as well, because at the end of the day, if no one says anything, they're complacent and they do nothing.
Yeah.
What happened last year, November, was ridiculous, unnecessary. It shouldn't have been that high.
It wasn't a red wave, but it was not good for Florida.
It might as well have been a red wave, because when
I guess it was a red wave in Florida.
Gillen lost by 35,000 votes. Crist lost by how much now?
Over a million. It was over a million.
So it might as well have been a red wave. It might as well. I'm just saying. So I guess my statement is the Democrats need to do a better job.
Period. They absolutely have to. They got to deal with that messaging, man.
People who are Democrats, who are registered as Democrats, whatever Democratic Party club you're affiliated with, you need to be vocal about the Democrats doing better job with messaging. Vocal with your chapter presidents, making sure that they get word to Manny Diaz, letting them know the people ain't happy. Something needs to happen. But it needs to happen yesterday, because we should be on the grind for 2024 as we speak.
Right now, absolutely.
So
yeah. I know we're a little pressed for time. We didn't get to talk about the school board, but I think you're going to a meeting of something that's related to the Broward County School Board. That's why we gotta cut our
I'm going to be going to Plantation High School, having a 7:00 meeting. And it's the new company, AECOM, will be there presenting, because they're doing a tour, I guess a district tour.
Okay, so what's AECOM and what is it that they're there to do?
So AECOM is the company that is over construction for the big issue we had with the
they're making that cafeteria for a lot. Is it for a lot of that high school that got a $21 million cafeteria? What school got that $21 million cafeteria?
I don't remember.
Okay, so it's some school. There's a school that cafeteria costs $21 million.
But they have taken
out of there. It's another school. It's not that. It's a different school. But yeah, cafeterias cost $21 million, y'all. Mhm.
Yeah. If you've seen some of the state-of-the-art cafeteria that we're talking about, you would see why it costs $21 million. But I digress.
What is a tricked out $21 million cafeteria?
It's not so much that it's tricked out, that it has like, you know, because most schools, their cafeteria, it also turns into a space for events, right? So has speakers in them and all that. So it depends on which.
Oh, so it's an auditorium cafeteria?
Yeah, because you know it's multi-purpose. So because it's multi-purpose, that's why it comes out to that certain schools, not all schools.
That's your story, and you sticking to it?
That's what I was told.
Okay.
That's what I was told. I was told.
All right, then.
Okay, so not my story.
Okay.
I was told that story. But yeah, there is a meeting and they're doing a town hall. They're going. I'm gonna post the schedule because they're doing it across the district, right? So they're basically going to each quadrant of the district, explaining what they're doing, how far they've come, what more they got left, what they've done since they've taken over, because they came in like 2 years ago, trying to clean up the mess from the company called Heery that was before them, trying to make things work in terms of the budget. So I'm going to listen and hear. There was a town hall meeting yesterday in District 7. I heard it got heated over there. I wish I would have went. But if you go, there is a Facebook page that has blow by blow videos about FTX and one of the school board members. I mean, it was
that was a hackathon Hickson.
Yeah.
Woo. I think I saw like one of them posts, and that's what they call it.
Listen, let me tell you something. You know, when you're elected official, you're open to everything, right? So everything you do is scrutinized. If you receive funds from FTX for $49,000 as a consultant, turn around a company.
And you promised some kids some money for scholarships, and now they're not gonna get it.
Apparently, they got $1 million, and money that's already spent by all intents and purposes may have to be returned. Where the baby's get $1 million?
Wait a minute. Who they gonna? Who's paying that money back?
Maybe the district is gonna have to pay back. I don't know. I'm just saying. You get into stuff like that, you can't run away from it. So Debbie Hickson hasn't made a comment. She was like kind of drilled yesterday about it. I think.
What did she say? I mean, if you're getting drilled, I mean, there's some answers.
She said nothing.
Oh, okay. So she didn't get drilled. She was questioned and chose to remain silent. That might have been a good idea. Maybe she was taking advice.
Although the superintendent made a comment, and then Mr. Sullivan, who is, I guess, the chief officer or something like that, made a comment as well. Nothing that really came up to any substance, but you know.
They were talking about the superintendent on a couple pages too, saying that she was trying to get Rod Velez sworn in.
They have proof. It was posted with proof. So let me not say proof. Receipts. There was receipts posted with the accusation. So allegedly, because we have to say allegedly she was helping the duly elected, because he was duly elected.
He was elected.
To get sworn in, allegedly. I don't know, because things could be doctored up and then they're all floating around on social media. But what I can say is that, and we will talk about it next week, is that the new school board members have come in. There was a time where the superintendent was now relieved of duty. That has since been rescinded.
Thank you, District 5.
That is correct. District 5. Who's that? Dr. Jeff Holness. He stated that it was part of his issue. Was not his issue. It was procedural.
It was done procedurally, like incorrectly. Right. So he was trying to correct a procedural error that may have led the district to be in litigation.
That is his story, and he's sticking to it. Yes. And by all intents and purposes, he cited some policies that were.
No, he cited a policy, not some policies. It was a policy.
He cited one policy that may or may not have been
properly interpreted.
There we go. And so based off of that is why he decided that he wanted to rescind her termination.
And give her 90 days.
But he didn't get that 90 days. He just got the rescind part, and she had to continue on, which the 90 days would have brought us to January 24th. So she's still within that time frame to give her report, but they did in fact rescind her termination. So, you know, he went on the NAACP.
Fort Lauderdale's. They had a panel last week, right?
Last week with
the video is still available if you want to watch.
Yes, on YouTube and Facebook.
Yes.
NAACP Fort Lauderdale.
Is it Broward or is it Fort Lauderdale? I think it's Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale. Dr. Rosalynn Osgood, a senator, Dr. Rosalynn Osgood was on.
Who has an opponent?
She has an opponent? For re-election already?
No, Broward politics is a trip. So apparently, Ruth Carter Lynch is going to run against her as an NPA for state senate, seat 32.
Is that Ruth Carter Lynch who ran for
school board, supervisor of elections, school board, and a whole bunch of other things?
Oh,
and you know, if you want the truth, vote for Ruth. I mean, I it's not like I don't know. I think she's a cool woman, but you know, I shouldn't say but. I'm gonna say but because I don't understand that. I don't understand entering that race, and she's running as an NPA, so most likely she will be on the ballot. So, well, actually, not most likely, she will be on the ballot.
She will.
Yeah. So she changed her party from Democrat to NPA. Yeah, that's what we're doing in Broward, y'all.
You know what?
Don't ask me for no money, people. I'm not giving y'all none. Don't call me about no campaign contribution. Don't call me to call nobody. Don't call me to do nothing. I'm not doing it. No.
If Democrats don't get their act together, I will not be donating.
I'm not saying I'm not donating to anyone's campaign. I'm gonna be real specific about whose campaign I'm donating. Before it's like because I'm not no dream killer. I'm very supportive. I would have don't call me.
So
I have a standing monthly donation to the Broward Democratic Party. I do that, but some of these folks that I know personally, don't call me. I ain't finna give y'all no money.
Well, I'm just saying, people can do what they want. To me, I feel like.
Okay, Joy Smith, you could call me. Commissioner Smith, you could call me. I got you. I'm West Park is kind of like my next favorite city outside of Miramar, the one that I live in. You know what I mean? West Park is like, I'm feeling West Park.
Me too. You can count me in for a donation.
You count me in. I got West Park. West Park
I personally think, I know people can do what they want or whatever, but I feel like our community, when we're running for office, it needs to make sense, right?
It needs to make sense.
And the thing is there's not enough of us that have a seat at the table. We need to be strategic on how we're doing things so we can.
Because we're all running against each other. Go run against somebody else. I'm not saying run for office, but why all these black people got to be running against other black people? Like, what you doing that for? We live throughout this county. We live in every city in this county, so we can run against other people except for just be running against other black people.
Unless the candidate is horrible and their track record shows that, I'm okay with that. But when you have somebody that's solid, I don't understand why 5 of y'all running in a race when you have a solid person. I don't get it.
Go do something else, man.
Something else. Y'all need to stop stacking these races and taking away from good candidates, right? Because you want to stack a race. Stack a race with a whole bunch of white people. Go do that. Like, why are we stacking races against each other? We're already like in crowded fields already. That I just don't get that. I don't get it. It is what it is. But anyway, I digress because I got to go to this meeting.
Alrighty.
Talking about, but next week we'll delve in deeper with the school board.
So I think when we have the show next week, the school board would have had a meeting on Tuesday. Is that so or not yet?
No, they have.
I think the meeting's on the 24th.
They have a workshop on the 24th.
Okay, so 24th. So that show, the show after that will be where we where we. Hopefully they'll start being they'll be to the point where they can start talking about the children that actually go to school in Broward County, because they still can't talk about what they're gonna do for these kids. They still ain't got no bugs. There's mold in the buildings, Yeah.
Well, I did get a good report about Bethune elementary school in Bethune. The buildings that are not being used, they will not use them to count as part of the population. So they're going to remove those buildings.
And what does that do?
Well, it helps the school make sure that they get the right amount of funds, and they because they charge you per.
Get rid of mold of the buildings that the babies are in.
They apparently they've taken care of that. I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I was told that was taken care of. The building, when they're factoring population, they factor in the buildings and they factor in how many kids are in that building, and that's the number the school has to have, right? In terms of that's I guess their budget. That's how they work their budget out or whatever. Because they don't have that many, they don't have enough. The money is not enough in terms of budgeting because they wouldn't reach that capacity. Them buildings are not being used. Right?
No, it's not. So when you say the buildings are not being used, you're making it seem as though they have a choice not to use those buildings.
No. Yes,
you cannot use those buildings.
They
should be like torn down. Okay, they're not habitable. That's why the buildings are not being used. It's not like, oh no, we don't want it. No. You can't go in there.
Yes, the buildings, full of mold. They really need to be torn down. But they will not be using that as part of the population group number that they're looking at in order.
And to think it would have, how many years have they been using a building that you can't go into? Like, I mean, who are these people that don't know that it don't make no sense to hold a person accountable for buildings that you can't even conduct business in? I mean, like, that's not rocket science. I don't understand.
When you're in the last few school board meetings, Natalie Lynch Walsh, who is in District 5, has constantly brought up the fact that these buildings are sitting there full of mold, can't be used, but then still using that as a population. Like if you go back into the meetings, you'll see what she said, and it's all public record. I don't know. All I know is these new school board members and this superintendent, I need to see some traction. I haven't seen anything yet.
Well, I mean, it kind of, it was like November. Then we had the Christmas break and all that stuff. So we got to see what they're going to be doing.
What you're not going to do is make excuses because the school.
I'm making no excuses. I'm just trying to explain.
It's been there longer than they have. And according to how the structure works,
explaining.
She could work independently of the school board members as long as she has her directives or whatever. She's been there long enough. And I don't see no traction. So I don't care about no Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday. We ain't talking about that. We board members have been appointed.
There are some 12-month employees there, right? So somebody was working during that time, right?
I mean, can we just be honest about what we talking about here?
Yeah, what we talking about?
Woo. Anywho, all right. So next week we'll talk about Florida legislator. With Ron DeSantis, when he got sworn in, he was doubling down on the woke legislation. Child, we're going to talk about
with that one, sir. Ain't nobody listening to you.
We may not
sense at least.
We may not be listening to him, but that's
not listening to him
though. Some people listening to him, child. They got a super majority.
He's gonna start working in June anyway because he got to start running for president. So we only got to deal with him.
And they're changing the rules for him too. You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't got to resign to run no more. So y'all go shoot y'all shot and run for president too.
I say do it. I say crowd that presidential race with every and anybody.
Yes.
I'm just saying we trying to get somewhere, honey. And listen, Mr. DeSantis think that he could just come and run for a 50 statewide race, sir. Everybody not like everybody here in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you think you got, we're not dream killers. If you think you got
never.
By all means, brother man, handle your business. All right, so we'll see you all next week. Hopefully at 5:30 because I got a couple of things going on, but I'll make sure I get here by 5:30. I think Sandra, she probably might.
You know, I had mommy duties, man. Come on. I got like all these jobs and I gotta act like a mama too sometimes.
I got mommy duties and some other duties that I jumped in and took on and I shouldn't have done it. I should have been like, no, but I didn't. But anyway, I digress. We will get there as close to 5:30 as possible.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us
and hanging with us for a little bit. I think we try to do it as quick, I try to cut it down a little bit, but once you get to talking to stuff that's serious,
it's a lot going on. Thank you so much for hanging in, Joy Smith. Thank you, Commissioner Smith. We appreciate it. But we need you to start. You got to let us know ahead of time what you're trying to do in 24 so we can go ahead and start making that happen.
Hey, listen.
All right.
We all about, listen, don't be like the other Democrats not doing nothing. We're going to need you to, show them how it's done, Commissioner Smith. Show them how it's done. All right, guys. So we'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place, same enthusiasm. Hopefully we'll hear something from the Democrats and we can be a little bit more positive in our conversation.
All right.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.